I suck at coming up with new concepts and ideas. I mean, really suck. That's why I've always avoided character design. I admire it and the people who do it from afar, but that's just not me. Well, that's till today when I decided I'd give it another shot by creating my own mini character design project. Oh, fun. You know, just in case this whole drawing fan art and OCs on social media thing doesn't really work out and I need a job in the industry, this would be a good head start on that portfolio. Before I started this character design project, I actually wanted to find out the goal and purpose of a character design and why it's so important in the first place. Here are some of the few reasons I found. You can tell a lot about a character, like their personality, social status, background, culture, just from their design, which can help save time and avoid long, unnecessary expedition dumps. Also, it's what draws people in to watch or read. I can't name how many times I started an anime or manga just because someone in the show looks cool. And lastly, it's quite literally what the audience will be sticking with, looking at, bonding with the entirety of the show, so you better get it right. So what actually makes up a good design? Guy equal muscle, female equal booba. Well, actually, there's no right answer to good design. It's all subjective. Yeah, most can still differentiate between a good design and a bad design. Luckily for us, there are a few general rules that have been established of what makes up a good design that can be used as a jumping off point. I won't spend too much time on them because they've been covered in depth dozens of times, but here are the ones I First, knowing the style is very important because it determines what parameters you're going to be working with. Like how exaggerated your shapes and proportions can be. Most character designers start with the silhouette, which is the overall shape and outline of the character. That's because a good silhouette consists of clear, concise, and readable shapes. It allows them to explore more ideas in a shorter amount of time. A good design usually consists of big, medium, and small shapes. Why is that? Basically, it boils down to it being more appealing because of the golden ratio or something. Yeah, I don't know. You can see big, medium, and small shapes being applied to the overall design of the character, even in specific areas like the head. Shape design is where you choose appealing shapes and shapes that actually fit the character. You know, nice guy equals round, bad guy equals pointy. We have the color scheme, which is an assorted combination of colors. Iconic designs have simple color schemes like complementary, triadic, analogous, and monochromatic. Costume design is just as important, and it's basically a whole field within itself. It's the part that actually does most of the talking I mentioned earlier, like telling what characters, culture, social status, all that good stuff. Allowing the audience to create profiles on characters just from a glance. Keeping all this in mind, I came up with the idea for my character, a medieval knight who wants to be a ninja. With this settled, I did what any smart artist would do before I get started, which is go to Pinterest and find references. Now the hardest part, taking all these ideas and references and bringing them together in a creative way. Wow, who knew that's what their job entailed, right? So having to draw multiple iterations of ideas, 20, sometimes 50 sketches, is a struggle because I'm the kind of person who likes going with the first idea that comes to mind and sticking. So to not stress myself out, I just told myself I needed just three different concept sketches. At first I started off by not thinking about the character themselves, but more so archetype. So I separated the three sketches by the amount of armor each one would have, which would give me more of a focus. First one had a decent amount of armor. The second one had light armor. Third one had heavy. I ended up going with the first option because the third one felt too much like a fantasy ninja, and the second one would just look too plain, and it actually looked like a traditional ninja too much. This time while sketching, I kept in mind her personality traits and made it more personal. Some of them being clumsy, intuitive, distinctive, and I thought of ways I could convey some of these traits. The belt around her head that actually carried hidden throwing knives, I felt fit her intuitive and clumsy personality trait. And I knew this would be my main selling point, and uniqueness to the character because, hey, I've never seen this done before. She wears most of her armor on her right side because she loves using that arm for brute force. She doesn't wear any armor anywhere else besides light chainmail under her shirt to keep herself as light as possible. Gave her a scarf, which was a special gift from her father, the king, which she wears to cover her nose, which also gives the makeshift look of a ninja that I was going for. I know I probably shouldn't be doing this, but I also figured, hey, I might as well knock out 2 birds with one stone and figure out my colors during the stage too. The options I picked were complementary colors, neutral brown, or secondary. I originally wanted to go with neutral brown, but I figured it wouldn't give off the ninja look at first glance, which was important because I decided that giving her Japanese attire didn't really fit the whole makeshift vibe I was going for, and it would just be better to give her darker colors. For the final draft, I just played around with her hair color, placement of her sigil, and armor plates I like to see if I can just make her a little bit more interesting. Ended up going with option 1. I finally had my concept complete, but I still had things like the weapons and the sigil that weren't fully fleshed out, but I planned to flesh out during the character turn-on. Which, by the way, you shouldn't do, but I did anyways. Hey, what can I say? I'm lazy. I have shows to watch. I was very excited to do this turnaround since it was my first time. I wanted to mix in some personality into the poses, and I opted out of doing the usual turnaround you'll see animated. Even though this was my first time having to stay on model with the proportions and everything, it was actually quite easy. And I know there's a trick where you can erase the insides of the first pose, flip it, turn around, and then fill it. But I drew everything from scratch because I'm a real man. The weapon designs were actually pretty simple, nothing too flashy besides the handles. I chose a scimitar based design for the sword since it's lightweight and it's very good in close combat. Also, each sword is positively and negatively charged so they can combine together to create a giant shuriken. The daggers resemble a mixture between a bowie knife and a shield split. There was really no thought put into that, I just drew whatever came to mind. And she carries 2 homemade smoke bombs made out of sugar and potassium nitrate. Her sigil or sign of her kingdom is a lion, and I actually incorporated the lion's paw into the design of the sigil and actually came out pretty good if you ask me. Even unarmed, she has ways to kill because her nails are really sharp. Share a little bit more of her background while I finish up the rest of this turnaround. I wanted to explore this character more because I wasn't satisfied with just her as a teen. I felt seeing her child version would help sell her personality traits better. The teen version just looked a bit too cool, which is not bad, it's just better for marketing. The concept, I already knew what I wanted to accomplish, so I didn't even need to do any sketches. I just went straight into the turnaround. Big balls here. Only doing 2 poses this time because time is of the essence and I got shit to watch. It only took me a day to finish and I was gonna call it quits after that, but I just wanted to apply my design to an actual use case in an illustration. I chose to do a splash art of her child version instead because I was in a slice of lifey mood. Plus, I always tend to do actiony, dynamic poses, so this is a nice change of pace. I started off with value thumbnail sketches, like how they be doing in the professional splash, but quickly realized I am not built like that, and they came out horrible. Instead, I started with the orange underpainting, like the traditional painters would back in the day, which I've also never done before, but this method hit closer to home with me. Pictures were pretty easy to draw. My biggest concern was actually the background. Now I've gotten more comfortable with perspective and using the perspective tools, but filling up the scene with enough objects so that it brings it more to life was my biggest obstacle. My backgrounds often are just too empty and lifeless. Pinterest and Google were not helpful at all when it came to looking for medieval home decor, but sometimes it really be like that. That's why having an extensive visual library comes in handy. handy a lot. The layer modes were really helping me set the mood that I wanted quickly, but sometimes I just feel like a fraud because I rely so heavily on the layer modes, and without them I just feel like I wouldn't know what to do. Finally, I got to rendering and did my usual thing that I do with the character. I actually tried out hatching in my paint to add a stylistic element to my rendering because I know I'm not too crazy of a technical painter here. And overall, I think this illustration came out pretty good. The mini character design project. I actually enjoyed this journey, especially since I took it slow and didn't put any crazy expectations on myself. I actually wanted to do an expression sheet in different outfits, but I didn't have time because I was working on other projects besides this. I didn't want to wait another month.
Actually, 3 months.
And I didn't want to wait another 3 months before my next upload. If you made it this far, first of all, that's surprising. But thank you so much for watching. I'm still trying to find out my flow and what content I want to make, but I will be back for sure. I promise. Anyways, love you guys. Peace.
No!